Woof! Welcome to Did Anything Sell in May? A fabulous recap of nothing selling in May. Well, we do have a few things that sold in May. Thanks for joining us here on Two Dogs Digs on our live hall pass on a Tuesday night. And it was a tough month. I do have to admit that it was a tough month. We will talk a little bit more about that. We have two guests with us tonight, two of our frequent sales guests who one of them, Adrian, is joining us, and he had to dip into April to give us a couple of things that sold because May was not good for him. And Elisa, who also had a limited amount of sales. So let's welcome the two of them. Hello, Elisa, and hello, Adrian.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Better. June is busting out all over.
I've had a better June.
Over the 3 days.
Judy.
Yeah, I've had a better 4 days in June than I've had in all of May, pretty much.
Yeah, we actually sold more this past weekend than we sold in the last 10 to 12 days of May.
Crazy.
And it was like some of the stuff was auctioned. We had auctions that ended on Sunday night, but we also had some stuff that was listed for the entire month of May that sold. I'm going to talk about this probably in the next few weeks as well. But we had when I talked about buying plates, we had a plate that we bought that we showed you guys. We sold 3 of them today for $150 for 3 plates that cost us $5. But they've been listed for a month. So that alone that alone almost beat my sales for all of last week.
Wow.
So how have your sales been going, Elisa? No sales, McGee.
That describes it well. I've had, I think, 2 sales, a bigger sale and a crap sale in the last 2 weeks. 2 sales in 2 weeks and 1 Facebook Marketplace sale of a 5-foot-tall Bugs Bunny Warner Brothers rabbit playing soccer for $10. Yeah, that's American money.
Woo! I love American money.
Yeah.
Adrian, your sales were, as you said, not
great. I mean, I sold stuff throughout the month, but it was like one thing here, one thing there, and it was like one toy soldier cow, and one toy soldier horse, and it was pathetic. But then I had a couple of nice sales, which you'll see later. But if it wasn't for putting some stuff in your max sold, I would have been screwed because literally, I think the max sold stopped me from feeling like a total failure this month.
Yeah. Well, from us, Max Sold actually helped us get closer to our month because we almost did $4,000 in the Max Sold sales for 2 sales in the month. So if we hadn't had those, it would have been we were selling a lot of $9.99 stuff. And I always talk about the fact that I mean, in this aspect, it was good because it was $9.99 stuff that we bought for very little. Like one of the things that we sold, surprisingly, within the month itself, is we sold, I think, 3 more sets of the Top Gun cups that we bought. We bought that huge batch, and they were $2.99 for 25 of the cups, and we're selling them for $4, and the Avatar cups, and we're selling them at $20. And we sold 4 sets of those, and 3 of them were in this past month, and a couple of them were repeat sales. Like a guy who bought some before came back and bought more Top Gun ones and then bought Avatar ones as well. So it was, and then a lot of other stuff that was that copper tone keychain that we bought 60 of for a nickel a piece, then sells for $9. Sold another one of those. Sold another couple of pairs of shoelaces. But those things, that's why we say it's okay to sell $9 and $10 and $15 items if you pay very little. Because if we didn't sell those, our months would have been even worse than we would have had. We would have even broken $100 on a couple of those weeks.
Yeah, like my nuns. I love my nuns. I miss my nuns. They were great.
Yeah, your nuns were good. But you do have something that's close to that. We'll talk about that. A big hello to everybody who has joined us here, and take a little slowness getting to say hello to everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here. Hopefully you'll see a few things. Some of you sent some stuff for us to show as well. So we'll show that in the show. So a big hello. Tina is packing orders while she waits for the show. So hopefully she's watching it now. Janet's here. Jennifer, her least favorite part of reselling is the packing. Heather and Bob, and Diana's here. Hello, Louette. And it's raining there. Oh, Jennifer's become a Frankenbox expert. So is Rick, thank God. Michael, let's see what else we got here. Lisa, Charmaine, Susan. Oh, very close to making her first June sale today, but close to no sale. Kathy. Oh, Rick, he may be joining us. He said he wasn't joining us. Carl, back from Italy. Hey, Carl, how was Italy?
Buongiorno.
Joel, Lisa, and Andrew's here. Michael, let's see, Mr. Greg, Susie, Mary. Hey, Mary, haven't seen you a couple of weeks. Nellie's here. I think I said hi to Holly, but let me just make sure I'm hopefully not missing anybody. Dawn, April, hello. So, is that Rosita? No, it's actually not Rosita. This was actually part of one of the things. We went away for the weekend. We went to upstate New York, did a little bit of estate sale and garage sale shopping. I'm going to do a video on that and probably have it run next week because we're going to be out at Wicked. So instead of having a live show, I'll do a little video that will run at 8 o'clock so you'll be able to see it. And it'll be our estate sale haul from the weekend. But when we were down there, I put this on. This was the first place that I happened to go to on the Friday morning, the first garage sale. And this is what I see. And it was a batch of ventriloquist puppets. And the first thing I actually picked up was the little pink one down in the bottom corner here because I recognized that. And I thought, okay. And the woman came up to me and said, oh, I don't know. We got that at the Darcy Lynn show. And I was like, of course. If you ever watched America's Got Talent, Darcy Lynn was the 12-year-old ventriloquist who won about 10 years ago, and she was on their Got Talent Greatest Hits people last year. That's her, Petunia is her puppet. So her daughter and her went to a Darcy Lynn concert, and then her daughter got crazy and had to have
I have no idea who Darcy Lynn is.
Little blonde girl, little American blonde girl.
Little American blonde girl. And actually, she's really, really good. If you Instagram, she sings with the little puppet, Petunia, who I don't know where I put her. And Petunia actually, surprisingly, sells for $40. So I'm going to make my money back. I paid $2 for Petunia. These are listed. There's a picture of Darcy Lynn. But she sings.
Which one's Darcy Lynn?
Huh?
Which one's Darcy Lynn? Okay.
So she sings, and her voice is really good. And actually, at the America's Got Talent All-Star Champions last season, she actually started singing without the puppet. And she got bumped off because everyone was like, where's your puppet? But she started a country and Western thing. I think she's going to be like a Taylor Swift. She's really got an amazing voice as a singer. So she was saying, hey, I did this when I was 12 and now I'm 19 or 20. It's like, I'm allowed to stop using the puppet. But I had to ask about the puppets. So I ended up picking up 2 of them. This one at the back is just a regular old monster. It's not an actual kind of monster, but we had been talking about plush. I did look inside, and there is a ticket on the back here. It says Silly Puppets. I didn't ask before I purchased them, and it was my first purchase, and I might have gone high on them. I ended up paying $20, $10 for him, but I also ended up picking up, out of the package, I picked up Grandma. Yeah. And Grandma was another $10, and Darcy Lynn was thrown in for the 2 of them. So it looks like, I thought, you know what? Ventriloquist puppets could be like big money. I thought they'd be $150, $200 things. No, they're 40 or 50. The blue puppet
dollars for a $2 investment is awesome. I sold that old man puppet a while ago.
Yeah, $10 investment. I won't make as much, but I will make something. So it's at least it's a little something.
Best place, you get to shove them in one of those polythene bags and just send it that way.
Yes. Now, before we go into anything more about selling, we have one more person we have to introduce, or one new member of the Kennel Club that we have to introduce. This is Maggie. Maggie is Elisa's rescue pup.
That's Maggie Moo. Craig gave her the nickname, and I like it. I've told all my students it. Yeah, we're talking about you. Come here.
Such a face.
She's
Yeah,
very-
Elisa sent me pictures and said, "Oh, I'm thinking of calling her Maggie," and my head just went straight to Maggie Moo because she kind of has that black and white Holstein cow look to her, but she's not. But I just thought Maggie Moo is a cute name, and so she's Maggie Moo. But yeah, what a face! What a face!
Yeah, she was rescued from an unfortunate hoarder situation and kind of got dropped into a reseller situation, which is not the same, but you know, she found a new home and I'm very happy with her.
Yeah, puppy.
Hey, that's so fluffy.
And I got to hang up my sign finally again. Simple pleasures. The high point of my day is that moment when I get home to be with my dog.
Oh, there you go.
I got to hang it after 2 years.
And now it's back! Yay! Oh, now Charmaine may actually want that, so I'll let Brian know when I post. I'll do it on. I'll send Brian a message on the. I think it's the blue one that she's interested in. And then, yeah, we also bought a cat house, and so
Yes.
like a cat house, but I couldn't pass it up, and I showed that on the thing as well. We were wandering around the Value Village, and they brought out this perfectly neat-looking, funky. Retro-ish MCM modern. I don't know what you want to call it. It's just a really neat. Let's see if I can get the picture of it up. Really neat cat house with a scratching post on it, and it was $6.99. I'm like, I can't pass by. I mean, I can, but I didn't want to. I couldn't pass this by. There's the cat house.
I would have bought it too.
And it's for $6.99. I thought I gotta pick this up. So yes, I'm gonna have a cat house. I'm going to become a puppeteer. So many things that I'll be able to do in my future life.
I would sell it to one of my staff who's cat mad.
Well, there's a couple of people who message
more money from her.
but a couple of and that's the challenge. Actually, somebody asked this. It's a really good question. Somebody asked this in the craft group at one point, and I think somebody actually might have even asked it in a chat. What do you do when someone asks you about stuff like that? Because they see you as a reseller, but they see you only paid $7.99 or $6 for that. It's like they may be expecting to get it for the $7 that you paid for it. And unfortunately, that ain't happening. Like, because one person sent me a message and it's like, but a couple of people would say, "Oh, I'll pick it. I'll take it off your hands for $10." It's like, no, I bought it for $10. It's like I can sell it for 50 or more. So it's a challenge. Do you ever have people like that, Elisa, that see something and they because they know what you bought it for? Or
I had that happen once a long time ago. I was selling at a flea market, just like a local flea market, and I had bought a board game for $1. I had 2 of them, so this is before I was really reselling really back into it, and it had like the dollar sticker on it, and the lady's like, I'm like, oh, $5, and the lady said, well, it says $1 on the sticker, and I'm like, okay, take it for $1, because I'm like, at that point I'm like, you know what, I'm not gonna get into an argument with her, but it's, I mean, I've accidentally when those giant animatronic Halloween things that I sold, like them for like $300 or more each. Humble brag. They had about 15,000 individual price stickers on them, and I'm like, I got to make sure I get them all off, or people are gonna see I paid $10 for them each. So I think I left one on. They didn't say anything, but I was like, oh, please don't say anything. Please don't say anything. Please, yeah.
Well, I often see that at thrift stores, though. I mean, you go in there and you see the garage sale sticker price that somebody had on something, and 50% of the time it's like it says $10 and they're listing it for $4.99, and that's okay. That the other 50% of the time it has a $2 sticker that they bought from a store and they're selling it for $4.99. You're like, they couldn't sell this at a garage sale for $2, but you want $5 for it.
Mm-hmm. The worst are the yep.
I can answer this really simply. If it's someone who I love very much, then I will, if they express interest in it, I'll just gift it to them. And that's always wins me brownie points. But if it's someone I know casually or So I know through work or something like that. No, I say, I'm sorry, this is my side hustle. This pays for my my own collecting and my own hobbies, and so this is what I'm charging for it. If you're willing to pay that price, it's yours.
Charmaine says you're paying a bit for your time. You're the ones fine with it. Mary says, unless you're supporting me, the answer is no.
Oh, Mary.
So Mary's very like, I don't care if I love you and you love me. No.
I love money.
It's a very simple no for Mary. And then Donna actually barters with me. Like, she finds stuff that I like and I find stuff that she likes. So it's like, oh, like after the show, she'll go, the cat you showed. Okay, what can I trade you for that cat you showed?
Nice.
A big new hello to welcome to Jennifer. She's new. She's learning so much. Love us more because also rescued a dog who is sleeping at the moment, early bedtime. Our rescue dog, Doug, is on the side there somewhere, not barking, strangely enough. And all of a sudden, he stayed with Adrian for the weekend. And surprisingly, Adrian confirmed that we thought he's deaf.
Oh, 100%.
No, he came home and you don't like a bell rings and he turns his head. If I snap my fingers, he's turning his head. So he's selectively deaf. That's what we figured out. He's choosing when to be deaf.
He was deaf all weekend, a little bugger.
Charmaine says, I only give a lower price if they're purchasing multiple items. Yeah. Based on the situation. Unless it's your kids always get the pick. Hey, James, no worries.
No children.
So let's start off with seeing some of the fun, fabulous stuff that we sold. So I'm going to do a little bit from Elisa and Adrian and myself, and then show you some of the stuff that our crafters sold. This is one. This is something that you sold. It's Pee-wee.
Oh.
Big Top Pee-wee.
A cassette. I love
a cassette.
Mm-hmm.
And I got positive review. Positive feedback.
I got my pencil out. I'm ready.
Did you test it?
No.
Oh, okay. But you sold it.
I did.
$20.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that.
I mean, two-sided. It was. I mean, I had to.
Ah. Yeah, just
I think it's one of those shows.
It's like the secret word is no sales.
That's 2 words.
Now we'll go to something that Adrian ended up selling, which was a really strange thing. And was this part of the buy that never ends? I don't know if it was, or if it was something else you found somewhere else.
No, this was separate. No, I did sell stuff from the gift that keeps on giving, which you probably didn't choose to show tonight because
no, I didn't.
Get call happy. No, this was literally it's an O.J. Simpson doll that was on eBay with no bids and an opening bid of like $7.99. And so I bid more than the opening bid and I won it. And it got shipped to New York address. You picked it up for me and brought it back. And then I listed it. And then 2 days later, OJ died.
Oh.
And the bidding just took off from there.
Yep.
$51 for $7.99 investment. I knew it was worth more. He's normally like a $35 doll. And I thought, what the hell, for $8, I'll do it. But no, that was a nice surprise. Thank you, OJ, for dying. Woohoo!
That's a nice way
Did you
to say
put
it.
OJ in the title?
What's that?
Did you put OJ in the title? I saw was the juice.
Sorry, I did there. OJ.
Oh, okay.
Bandana 9.5 inch OJ Simpson, the juice. Fashion doll. Yep. If murder isn't fashion,
Yes.
then
Yes, it just didn't fit for some reason. I don't know why not.
It's Cruella.
But yeah, it's interesting. That's one of the things we always say as resellers. It's like there's a level you have to sort of go, okay, well, some people might think this is crass, but if I have tapes or I have a doll or I have like a poster or I have anything that is of somebody who happens to have passed, it's usually the 3 or 4 days after they pass, the interest spikes like crazy. If it's that, or if they're under trial for something. So a bad example that I always use is when R. Kelly's documentary came out and he was being accused of all of that stuff, the sales of R. Kelly records, LPs, went through the roof. And it was like, really? You want R. Kelly? Kind of a strange thing. But Otherwise, is when Betty White
Mhm.
passed away, the Betty White ornament, the Hallmark ornament, skyrocketed by like $100 overnight. It went from about $150 item to $200-$350 in a day.
Wow.
And then Hallmark brought out a reissue of it last year for $20. So everybody who paid $200 or $300 for that,
That's great.
in essence, yes, except now they have, like, if you have the original, your box doesn't say reissue. But the item is the exact same ornament, but the box says 2020 or the box says 2023. And so I had somebody who bought one from me because I bought a few and sold them for like 50, and they thought they were getting a deal. And then they yelled at me because this wasn't the original ornament. And I never said it was. So it's there's anybody on their deathbed right now? Excuse, hello.
No comment.
Well, we didn't have anything of that sort, but we did have this another one of the strange dolls. I picked this little thing up when I was at the Hoarder House, and it was I just grabbed it because it's one of these cheap things. Now, this is the thing that surprises a lot of times is these kind of dolls. You think that they're cheap, you think that they're nothing. You go, okay, well, I ended up having to look up Little Ann and Bob. And it was like Little Ann and Bob ice cream doll because she has an ice cream in there. And she was still in the package. But I'm like, they're nobody. It doesn't have, it's not a big company, anything along those lines. And so I put her up for auction and ended up selling her for $75
Dang.
for Little Ann and Bob. Like, very 80s. Very like strawberry shortcake-ish. I don't know. It didn't sniff it. I mean, she does have strawberry images on there, but some of it looks like feet.
So is she actually Ann Bob? Is she actually the first transgender doll ever made?
She's Little Ann and Bob. She's Little Ann and Bob. No, there is a little Bob doll too. So on that note, we'll move to a second item. Melissa's.
Laughing at that joke.
Christmas. It's Christmas in May.
Yay.
It's Christmas with Coca-Cola. Okay, I have a big question. Did you put these on a tree?
I did.
You went to a lot of work for this, or were they listed back last Christmas?
Or is your tree still up from last year?
Or is your tree still up?
Not my tree, but I have a friend who I visit at the beach, and she believes in year-round Christmas. So I bought them when I was down at the beach, and I said, you know what? I was taking pictures out on her porch, and I'm like, you know what? There's a dang on tree right there. I'm gonna put these things right on there because you know what? People imagine what it needs to look like what it could look like on their tree.
No,
There's
you're
a tree. Yay!
That is a very smart thing to do, and you ended up selling them for.
I think it was about 40. I'm not sure.
Mary's listing her Christmas stuff now. Do not want to get overloaded in Q3. Well, yeah, and July is a big Christmas month. Do you know if they were clay? Charlene's asking, were they clay?
I think they were resin, honestly.
Okay.
I think they were resin.
Did you put tree not included?
Well, you know what? The thing that sold them is Kurt Adler.
Oh, right. Okay.
Because Coca-Cola, there's a million and one different, products, but Kurt Adler, big designer, mid-century modern, sells a lot of Target stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Does the heads, like head bases. His stuff sells, so I think that's what sold it for that much.
Now, the next we talked, Adrian, you mentioned that thing about the nuns. So
Yes.
recap for people what it is about the nuns that you're talking about.
I sell toy soldiers, and I came across this massive bag of 54 millimeter accoutrement plastic nun. They were finger puppets or cake toppers, or God knows what they were. But I sold them as toy soldiers. There are very few soldiers ever made, and I sold them for $9.99. And if you got two, it was $8.99 for the second, and if we bought three, it was $7.99 for the third, right? And I had so many of the damn things; they would just sell constantly. So they sold very small amounts of money, but I had so many, and I paid, I think, $4 for the whole bag of nuns. And
so it's kind of like we were talking about with our like cups or things like that, something you buy a lot of. And so you found a new one.
Well, I sold to my nuns, and I've been looking for something to replace them. And what this is, if you're going to throw it up there, this is Wilton Chicago cake topper. So Wilton Chicago is a cake topper manufacturer, among other things, other novelty things they make. But these particular figures are exact replicas of Britain's Herald molds of a very rare group of figures called the ethnic dancers. There's a Ukrainian couple, there's a Hawaiian couple, and there's a Spanish couple. And so for some reason, these were turned into cake topper souvenirs, and they're still vintage. But I got bags of them. Whenever I see a bag, then I'm just snatching them up, and then I sell them for a pair for this much.
And this is what's bizarre to me is this is like a topless cake topper.
But she's literally an exact replica of the original Britain's figures. And so Toy Soldier collectors are snatching these up because as you know, clones can be just as valuable as the little things.
Yeah, and if you don't have the actual item, it's like you could start with this and then upgrade to the other thing, right?
You would sell this couple if they were the Britain's figures for anywhere between $30 to $40 for the pair, maybe even higher if they're in mint condition. But these, they're made of much more brittle plastic, but they're actually better painted than the original. So
you have two of them left.
Yes, but I have way more than two. What I do is I put groups in, and then they sell out, and then I put them back up again with another small group. That way, it looks like there's urgency to buy.
Now, one of the things I sold, and again, when we were talking last month, we talked about supper time. That was a challenge for April. And I talked about plates. And one of the things that surprised people was to look at something as simple as a melamine plate, because you can resell those. And this just happens to be one of the ones we did. We picked up this set of melamine plates at a Value Village. And they're a name that you don't even necessarily know. It's Le Cadeau. And it was, I believe, $3.99 less 20% US. So it was like $3 for the set of 4. And I had 2 different patterns. And I put these up, and I accepted $28 for them. So again, it was ended up being a $20 profit sort of margin. If you take that 17 to 20% fee that we always talk about, and we charge shipping on top of that. But again, melamine plates, and these actually only ended up, I don't think they were on for more than a week. The other set is still on for more than a week. But again, I sold them, as I said earlier, I sold plates again today. So I'm always looking at that kind of thing, and we're being told it's Jonathan Adler, not Kurt Adler. It's those 2 brothers, the property brothers, Jonathan and Kurt Adler.
My fault.
I think Heather knows him. That's why she's very defensive about Jonathan Adler. But you don't have to be defensive about everything, but you should be defensive when you're selling something like this. Ah!
That's mine.
That's your, yeah, not mine.
No, that's mine.
Oh my God, that's creepy.
It's totally.
It's a latch hook. It's I actually had sold that before, but I had lost it, and then it took another 4 years to find another buyer.
So you sold it, lost it, had to cancel it, and then found it, and had to...
Yep.
It was haunting your closet somewhere, and you still managed to make $35 on it.
Yep.
It actually looks like the clown from It. That's how I imagine the clown.
It is actually. It's very close to Pennywise. That is true. It's very, very close to a Pennywise.
It's creepy as hell.
Yeah, but I did put creepy in the title.
Yep, creepy clown. Yep.
Creepy sells.
Now, some people might think this is creepy, but this is another one of Adrian's fab finds and flips. This is what I'm going to start calling him. He's the master of finding and flipping, or Facebook finds and flips.
Okay, so this is about dead people. This is connects to dead people too. So this is a statue, a resin statue, of a very famous drawing or sketch by an artist called Tom of Finland, who's a gay erotic artist from the 70s and 80s and 90s. He died 2 years ago. They made a film about his life, and then everything that he ever touched just skyrocketed in value. So his comic books, his art, his retrospective books. Now, this figure was made by Zemenko. Now, these people are known for making those dragon statues. You've seen them all the time, right?
Yeah.
And for some weird reason, they made 4 different versions of Tom of Finland drawings, sometime in the 90s, I think. And so I found a guy who had a bunch of them, and I bought them for $25 a piece. This is the second one I've sold in the last couple of months, and it sold for $144.88. But what's amazing is that I have my list started at $144.88. The last one went for $148.88. But I had like 15 watchers. I'm like, that's crazy. Why don't you bid, people? But I have one more to go, and then I will see if I can get more.
Yes,
I like his eyebrows.
I loved it because Adrian was telling us about this a couple of weeks ago, and he said he tried to get the guy to sell him all he had left, and he wouldn't.
Yeah.
But the guy's got a I don't understand that. The guy has a price that he wants for things. What did he want for them? Like $20?
$25.
So if you got them for $20 and somebody says how many you have, and you say 5, and you go, I'll have all 5. No, I'm only letting you have 2. You still would have made $20 each if you bought all 5.
I know.
Now he's just slowly having to give him $20 and pay for shipping again too. That's really
I'm making my money back in spades, so it's all good. And it keeps what it's also done, because it's listed as under decorative item. It's also listed under gay interest in my store. It's other things in that thing are selling, so people are picking up other things, T-shirts and books and whatever they have in there.
Well, I'm not sure if this is listed under gay interest or not. This was boners. Just
old-fashioned word for
there is no collusion between what I get sent from the various people on here. But
The link, it's amazing. That's actually mine. That was, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting now. I believe that is a Dr. Seuss book. That is that's a Dr. Seuss book. It is dirty jokes for the classroom. Send in your best boners. And I have the sense of humor of a 10-year-old boy. So I hang out with them. Yeah. I hang out with them literally like up above me here. So, and there's pictures with with dirty nuns and So teaches us how to bisect angels. Yeah. Okay.
1931. But again, an interesting find and interesting sale.
I found it.
Great.
I mean, I paid. Oh my gosh, I paid $14 for it in this amazing used bookstore in outside of Philadelphia. It's Baldwin's Book Barn. It is literally in a 17th century barn, like an old barn, which is like 15, like at least like 5 stories of used books. They do charge up for everything, but I saw that, I'm like, I'm just gonna get that because I like things that make me laugh, So, and I said I'm gonna put it on there, and if it doesn't sell, it's funny to bring out at parties or work events. Depends.
So here's a question since you sell books and you are working in a library and everything. When you're looking at books like this and you think of buying something at that bookstore to resell, how do you describe older paper that, like, with any smells? Do you try and get the mustiness out of it? Do people expect that if they're buying a 1931 hardcover book that it's going to have a little bit of age paper smell to it, or what do you do? How do you deal with stuff like that?
Well, I generally don't buy stinky books. I mean, I'm sure Lisa Bowen knows a lot about books. I mean, I really just don't buy them if they're really odorific, if that's
the
a word.
good thing about eBay, if you're selling on eBay with books, is that they have a category listing for books, and so you select it, right? And it tells you yellow pages, dog ears, stinks, written in the book, written in the margins, things like that. So literally, you click on whatever one best describes your book, and it makes it super easy for listing.
Yeah, Lisa says, I use my ozone generator if it's really bad, or just disclose musty or old lady smell.
Hey, that's my usual smell. Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate that.
I think I've done that too on some of the paper stuff that we've said. It's just like it's musty. It's like I just say this has been in a closet for 50 or 60 years. It has like old paper smell.
And that's a good
Heather's
smell.
offended as an old lady because she does not smell like a book named Boners.
Oh, dear.
So we've been talking a little bit about dogs, but now we'll talk about a kitty. Kitty.
Yeah, I had a meeting another part of the province, and so when I was meeting ended, I went to all the Valley villages on the way home, and I came across some great stuff, and a lot of it cat thing. Whenever I see cats, I buy the cats because the internet is for cats, and they will sell eventually. But this sold really quickly. I didn't know much about it. It had this beaded necklace on it, which I don't know was original to the cat or not, but I left it on there. I paid $4.99 for the cat minus 20%, and then I sold it for $40.
That it's cute. The one thing I thought when I saw the picture, I immediately thought that was a chip.
No, it's weirdly that one ear was painted pink.
Yeah, no, I just looked at it and went, he sold that? It's got a big chip in its ear. And then I realized, oh no, because the other pictures show that it's not chipped. But it took when I first looked at it, I thought that's a chip in its ear. It was just an interesting way to paint that so that it would take it draws the attention right up to that ear. That's what the first thing I ended up thinking about with that.
So it was definitely 70s, and it certainly had the air of a Haga, but I didn't know if it was a Haga or not. So I put the Haga question mark in there in the title just because I didn't have a clue. Maybe someone up there actually knows what it is. $40.
Couple of things. We're going to go on and show some stuff that some other people found and flipped. So let me just see if I can get a couple of these up and ready. I have to find the Facebook links to these as well. Actually, I'm going to go to where am I? There. Where? No. Where is it? Where's the one I'm trying to get to?
We'll entertain you with a puppet show in the meantime.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. This is kitty, warm kitty. So this is actually Andrew's. This is something that he sold, paid $4.40 at an auction, and he put these on. And we always talk about people make the comments about, oh, you shouldn't actually do something with like plates. Plates aren't doing anything. Why would anybody want plates? $4.40 at an auction and sold, don't think that, for $400. So little
Cha-ching.
little Bramley Hedge licensed 3D. Now I would never think that those would have ended up being like a $400 buy. But we actually purchased, and I don't have the link. I should have thought about it with this in mind. In the craft group, we put sometimes when we're out thrifting, we do a thrift it or throw it and ask people, what would you do with this? And one of the things that we put up was a set of dishes that we found, and they were collectible dishes called the Ladies of the Red Mansion. And it is a set of basically geisha type girls. Let's see if I can find Red Mansion.
Ladies in red kimonos.
Yes, a lot of people. Yeah, well, actually, it should be in my own eBay store. So if I go to that, I can find it. That's even better. Let's see, my sales. Where are my sales? And when we asked people about this, we saw this in a thrift store. There were 10 of them, and they cost us $3.99 a piece, I think. So we ended up buying them. And people all said, no. Every single person said, no, don't buy these. And what we ended up doing was we bought them to try and put into our Max Sold auctions. We didn't buy them to put onto eBay. We put them specifically to go into our Max Sold auction. And let's see if I can find these are the plates. There I go. I'm opening this up. Opening a window. Here we go. I'll move this over here. This is what the plates look like. I got to make it bigger. But it's just Ladies of the Red Mansion, everything. Rick just sent me the max sold link. Here we go. And here's our other link. So this is here, that's better. This is our link. And they sold for $211. And this is the set of the plates. They are in Japanese everywhere. There's virtually no English on them at all. So we just did all these pictures of them. That was the pictures, and we just described them as Ladies of the Red Mansion, and we ended up getting $211. Plus, that person ended up paying 18% buyer's premium and 13% taxes on top of that. So they paid nearly $280 for this, and everybody said, "Don't buy these." So between ours and the ones that we just showed you that Andrew sold. There's proof that there is money in there is money in collector plates. So just look them up. You never know what it actually is. So with something like that. Oh, Tina had a cha-ching. Yay. Are they 80s? Hey Sherry. I think the Ladies of the Red Mansion are 80s as well. Here's another thing. Actually, I think this is actually also a sale from Andrew. This was A Night at Salmon Move by Poems by Raymond Carver. $99. Wow. For poetry. So we've got some books that are actually picking up 1976 printing of that. In good condition, except a little sticker residue on the front. And I'd be happy with $99 on flipping something like that.
Sticker residue that's 99 cents.
Do not buy Norman Rockwell plates. We also have, this is Lisa Moland, sent us a couple as well. And with Lisa's, she had this one on Etsy for a month with no takers on this on Etsy. And so she decided to throw it onto eBay and sold it in a week for $100. And she paid $6 at a thrift store for it.
I love that.
So another religious statues, things people don't necessarily think about. And this was another of hers. She sold for $75. The Queen of Queen sales and royalty sales, the Queen of Royalty sales. This was bought for $8 and sold for $75 US for coronation. I got to ask that one question. Lisa, do people who buy these, are they in Canada or are they in the States? I've always wondered how many US people are into the royals as much as they are in the Canadian side of things. So, Sherry has 147 limited edition plates all in box. Well, some of them are worth $2. So take a look at them to figure out what it is actually that you have. Bought in Canadian dollars, sold in US dollars. Okay. Let's see. What else have we got in here? We have that. One more that we had, which was from our Facebook group. Let's see if I can find this as well. This was a Volrath. I don't know what Volrath is, but Volrath pitcher from Sheboygan, Wisconsin. So, and I'm just trying to
manufacturers of Volrathware.
Should be Volrat. That would make more sense.
Yeah.
The Adventures of Volrat.
Volrath.
The graphic novel.
And Louette sold this mainly priced it on the higher side because it still had the original labels. It did take a year to sell, but she still sold it for full price at $59.
Nice. Well done.
Again, it's another thing that'd be like, oh, I wouldn't necessarily expect something like that. And finally, this is one of the biggest sales that we had from people.
Wow.
Mandy Canet, our bear person, bought a bunch of 20 Swarovski crystal things from somebody for $250. So that's okay because that works out to about $15 a piece. And sold this one African elephant. And it's large African elephant, 4.5 inches. So I guess that is large for $512.
I'd be terrified to ship it. It just
With
looks
the
so
tusk and everything like that. It's like, oh. Lisa went to school with a guy named Mike Volrath.
Go, Lisa.
So a lot of sort of interesting things there. A couple of big ones, a couple of smaller ones. We did actually have one sale that we posted that, or we were going to show you, which is what probably our biggest sale of the month, as a whole. And that was, and we found this actually at a Salvation Army that we go to, a thrift store that we go to irregularly. It's kind of a bad thrift store. It's a tiny little, it's actually even says it's not affiliated with the Salvation Army, but they're the Salvation Army. It's really strange. It's in the basement of a place near you, Adrian. It's like,
yes, another place.
You know that one? And it's kind of scummy inside, and it's like they have like
shipping trailer outside just full of crap. I don't know.
Yeah, and the outside looks like crap. So we happen to be coming back from a trip out to Oshawa for something. I can't remember what we had to pick up there. And so we went by this, and this was just a little over a month ago. And they had, surprisingly, a slot car set. And it was sitting on their shelf, and it was $20. It was taped up, and I thought, okay, I've got to ask, can I open this and see? Because with slot car sets, you really need to make sure that the cars are there, because that's really the value to it. So this was the set that we found. It was the Canadian Indy, AFX Canadian. It's a 1990s set, but they opened it up for us, and it actually has both of the slot cars that were in there, all of the track, and I don't know if it had ever really been played with or used.
So that's the Gardner, right? That's where they hold that race.
Yeah. Actually, it does look a little bit used, but the pack was in okay shape. Rick actually built a piece of it, so 1991, so that we could actually test it and show them working as well. So there's two ways. You can also test whenever you have slot cars. If you want to test them, all you have to do is put a battery against the tips here, right on this part here. Put a 9-volt battery, and the wheels should start running, and that means they'll run when they're on a track. Well, I was looking at this and trying to figure out how to do it. So I actually went really high. I put it on an auction for $199, and nobody bid on it. So I waited for the auction, and the auction ended, and then I waited for 2 weeks, and I threw it back up, and I thought, I'm going to be real ballsy. I'm going to put it at $350. But I thought, I don't know how many people in the States care about the Canadian Indy. But I did know from looking it up that the two cars could sell for $60 to $75 a car. So this was one of those strange things where it happens when you talk about it. I literally said to Rick, I saw it downstairs as I was getting ready to prep for a Whatnot show. I thought, I got to get rid of this. I think, said to Rick that night, I think I'm going to take the Canadian Indy thing off the site, and I'm going to break it all apart, because you know what? It's not selling. It is larger. You'll have to build a box for it, Frankenbox it. Like, it's a big set. I got watchers, but nobody's buying. I've sent offers out for like $250. No. The next morning we get an offer for $200. And I said, how about $250? And the guy said, nah, I only want it for some of the parts. The cars are this. I went into this long diatribe. Well, he happened to I think the thing that was a little bad for him is his eBay name was AFX. And I thought, you know what? I'm not going to go too far down for this AFX collector. And I didn't. And we ended up managing that. I got $225 US for it. So I didn't get my $250. I did my whole, tell you what, let's split the difference. You offered $200. How about $250? And he said, no, how about $210? And I said, how about we just split the difference at $225? And I said, otherwise, I'm just going to split it all into parts. And that's when he came back and bought it. So that was really nice to actually flip this. This is kind of like the thing that helped make our May, is having like a $250 single sale in a week. Like that was a really strong sale for us. So Jennifer asked a question, and she's like, I have a 1950-60s Homer Laughlin golden wheat set that came in a piece at a time in boxes in soap. Any value where you all are? I don't know. I'd have to look that one up on either WorthPoint or on Terapeak. Terapeak might be the best answer for looking at something like that.
Go, Ricky.
What is it? Is it like cereal? Let's go grams.
I think golden wheat might be golden wheat might very well be the name of the pattern.
So it's plates.
I'm assuming. So let's go into product research. No, where are we? Up here, report. Where's my TerraPeak? Where'd my TerraPeak go? Where is my TerraPeak gone? Research. It's not showing up on my TerraPeak right now. Oh, I have to update my app. So we'll look at that and see if we can find that out for you, but I don't know right now. Rick says we have had some pieces. It is a dinner set of some kind. But I would checking the 3 years on TerraPeak might be the way for you to take a look at something like that. Now, I wasn't the only one that had a big sale of some kind. You did manage to see a big sale from a larger sale physically. That is, this is a Super Shoot Grip XL parachute. You sell some of the strangest large items. Well, in all honesty, I mean, from last month's, look, here's some 7-foot tall Halloween things. And now here's a parachute that's 30 feet in diameter. It's like, I don't want to know where you get them, but
I'm talented.
Taking a picture of this too, was that a challenge?
I'm just happy it wasn't a windy day. That would have been a disaster. And the only place I figure, I could show the bag that it's in, but people want to see it. So I literally have 2 banks of garages at my complex, and I stretched it out between them. And then I had someone pull into the banks where the garages are. I'm like, oh, bleep. I want to, so I think there's a lot of summer camps that are starting. So I think that might have been it. It sold for, I think it sold for $160. I paid $5 at a flea market last month. But I mean, it's sold, it's on its way. Went to Virginia.
Well, Charmaine said daycares use these for playtime with kids. And I was assuming that she did mean the parachutes and not the Homer Laughlin plates, because that wouldn't be as much fun with the children to be throwing around the Homer Laughlin plates.
But it does make sense opening it up like that, because if it's
There could be a rage room for kindergartners to throw a plates in.
Yay! Well, I saw another ad. I mean, I had so many people that were asking me, "Do you have any more?" Because the Flag House, they're apparently this really good, like Donna was saying, they're a really good brand. And it has instead of the handles, you. I was doing this. It had pool noodles inside. I'm like, oh, I love pool noodles. So the kids would hold on to the pool noodles. So someone had one for sale, and they just showed the bag with the parachute sticking out for $40. I'm like, forget that. And if it didn't sell, I was going to give it to my gym teacher to use. So $5.
Now here's the master of finding to flip stuff in different places. Adrian lives in a complex that twice a year they actually say to everybody in the complex, anything you want to get rid of, put it in the garage and we'll clear out the garage. So it's basically freebie shopping.
Shopping day.
And this is actually something Adrian found.
Yes. It was it's a bar table. It literally has doors on both sides. The top is a tray that comes off, and it takes alcohol bottles. It's a bar table. It's a round bar table, mid-70s. And so I grabbed it, put it in my basement, was there for a while. I finally took some pictures when Craig was doing his Max Sold. I threw it in the Max Sold. And thank you very much. For $0.
For $0, there's $130.
It was awesome. Really, I was surprised. I also I did well with this as well. This was a garage sale thing I picked up for $4, and it's just a painting of a guy in a boat in Holland, and I was over it, and I put it up on the thing, and we had a bidding war at the last minute. It kept going and going and going, and I'm like, what the hell?
Oh yeah,
I had bought this other painting which I thought would make money, and it went for $1, and I had spent.
That was the funny thing.
I was really bummed, but this other one I didn't think would go for.
Yeah, that was funny because you're like, well, that's going for $1, and then the other was like 40, 45. Yes, 48. Yeah.
So I didn't care about the bullfighter anymore.
Lisa just heard Doug go. Roar. So Winnipeg has freebie weekends in the spring and the fall. Actually, I found that there's a couple of towns and things like that that actually have those free kind of weekend type of things, and so it's just you don't necessarily think about passing anything up when it comes to something like that. You also never ever pass up sealed underwear, just because you have to buy it, and this is not mine. That's just the surprising thing. This is not one of my listings.
It's mine. I was going to point to Adrian, but, I figured, he's gone through enough today.
$21.
Oh, wow.
Yep, and it's not prison underwear either.
No, it's not prison underwear.
No.
No, we didn't end up doing Innisfil last weekend. We went to Buffalo instead because last year we did Innisfil and found absolutely nothing. So it was an hour-and-a-half drive for us to go there to find nothing. So we thought, we'll just do Buffalo instead. So, and you did sell one other thing, which is, I'm wondering where you got it, because this is going to be something that sells. This is La Crusette.
Le Creuset.
Le Crusette.
I say Creuset. How is it? Le Creuset?
I don't know, or I say La Crusette. Or
yeah.
La Crusette.
Well, I'm not in a French province or Canada. I was in Wilmington, Delaware, and I was stalking the carts, and I saw the little black knob thing, and I'm like, oh, I know that knob. That sounds bad. I know. I didn't mean that.
No, it's true.
I saw the black part on the top, and
you know your knobs.
Now I'm turning red. That doesn't take a lot. I mean, that takes a lot. So I saw that, and I'm like, you can't touch the cards because they'll yell at you. But I'm like, I collect Le Creuset, and I collect the red ones, and I'm like, ooh, this is a weird kind of pale white, and I'm gonna, so I'm like, hey, could I just grab that little thing right in the bottom of the card, because I couldn't see anything else. I just saw the little top, and I grabbed it, and it was about $20.
The color is oyster.
Yeah, interesting.
And Heather wants us to know that vintage underwear disintegrates. I know. Heather, we're talking about new underwear, not Bob's old underwear. So it's
that's already disintegrated. Yeah, so this thing, I mean, you could see just by the pot itself and the lid was over 12 pounds. And I mean, I wrapped that thing really well. I put bisque because. That was pretty much as close as I could find because I couldn't find anything. But, it sold pretty quickly.
Amazing.
And it's nice too, because again, it's one of those things that when you look at it, some people might, well, there's a couple of scratches. Should I still buy it? Or there's a little chip on here. Like, should I still be getting it with that sort of thing? It's like, it's La Crusette. It's like, it's worth the knob is worth the money. So, flipping that for $150 is a really great flip. So, I'm trying.
Did I say Erster, or did Rick say it was Erster?
Rick probably.
Okay.
We got one more to show of Adrian's, and one more to show of mine. Mine is not impressive, but I just thought we bought a batch of little things, and sometimes you end up having to hopefully piece it out. I bought this glass blown figures when I was at Brimfield a year ago, May. And it was one of those things where it was like a 2-hour period where I hadn't bought anything. And so I was like, oh, look, there's some hand blown figures. How much are they? It's like $75. Okay. And it's like, Rick looked at me and went, no. Like, he literally said no to me while I'm standing in front of the guy. And I'm going, but and so we bought them. So it's a little bit of a struggle. We've sold one about every 2 months. This is one we managed to sell in the past month. Just this little teeny tiny parrot, and we made $15 on it. So I'm eventually making my $75 back. I don't know how long it's going to take or if I'll make it all back. And this one, the good thing is this one's not heavy to ship. No, I know you're talking about the Luckers thing. But speaking of birdies, this is one of Adrian's, which is Kitty's, another kitty mug.
That's right. The same place I got the other cat. That's this Value Village in wherever the hell I was. And that is a Crazy Cats by Danoon. And it lasted like maybe 30 seconds after I posted it.
$22. So again, we talked about that too. We said look for mugs because mugs can actually still sell, and new mugs are $15, $20. So when you think about it, as long as you can get the mugs for cheap, then you can afford to charge shipping, and you charged $11 shipping on the mug. So someone was willing to pay $30 for a mug. And as long as they're not used, if they are used, try and use Barkeeper's Friend to see if you can clean up the inside of it to get rid of some of the scratches that are in there. But otherwise, they are heavy to ship, Rick is saying.
Well,
once again, Charmaine says cat people will buy all the things.
Right? The internet is for cats. People sell cats.
So from lifeguards to Darcy Lynn to knobs that we recognize to everything else, we found a few things this week. Is that your little pride cow?
Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride
That
Month.
is my Happy Pride Month.
And happy Maggie Moo Month too for a new doggy. So we hope you found a few things you may have not thought about this time. If you do see a parachute, probably
Jump.
buy it to flip it. Just make sure you've got space to flatten it out and it's not a windy day. That's the basic
Lessons from Two Dogs Days.
Yeah, that's your lesson for reselling from Two Dogs Days. Don't buy parachutes if it's a windy day, and pay more attention when you're buying ventriloquist dummies, and stop buying stuff when you haven't bought anything just to say that you bought something, because that's kind of like I'll get money for the puppets, but otherwise. Thanks again for joining us. Next Tuesday, Rick has bought us tickets, so Rick and I are going to see Wicked. So there will be a pre-recorded show that will be on Tuesday night. We're going to show you some of the stuff that we found in our trip last weekend. It was interesting stuff too, and we stepped out of our comfort zone on a few items that we never thought we would be looking at. Happened to be in a couple of estate sales and went, oh, look at this, that looks interesting, and then looked them up and went, we've never sold this before, but I guess we are. Kind of like the parachute, probably. So we got a few of those things in there, some fun plush things as well. And I'll be listing the toaster cover by Bucilla very soon. I'm probably going to auction it starting at like $49 just to see what happens to it. Thank you so much, Elisa and Adrian, for joining us here with some of your skills for the slow month of May. May your June be
busting out all
over. That's what we really need. Everybody, may all your June sales be busted out all over. Thanks again. We'll see you all soon.